I'm going to talk about the project, then we're going to talk about the bikes, and then we're going to go ride the bikes. Get a little practice because they are different, just get used to them, and then that's it. So this project is a collaboration between Parking and Transportation, which I am in, and Dominique was a student here at Berkeley. He just graduated. He's in grad school at Davis now. But together we applied for some money under what's called the Green Initiative Fund. All the students pay a little bit of money as their fees. It goes into a big pot of money. You can apply to get some of this money to spend on projects that make campus more sustainable. So the idea here is there's 250 employees in this building. You guys make trips back and forth to all the campuses all the time, many times by vehicle. So what would happen if we give you access to electric bikes? Would that cut down on vehicle trips and reduce our emissions? So that's what we're trying to figure out. It's a pilot project. It's going to last 1 year. And I'll get into this a little bit later, but part of your responsibility as a pilot project is to provide us with some data. And I'll show you how that works a little bit later. And please feel free to ask questions at any time, interrupt me. Okay, so I talked to most of you and everyone was familiar with a bike. Anyone not very comfortable on a bicycle? Okay, then this will be cake. So let's talk about the rules. There are not very many rules for this project. It's kind of, we're making it up as we go along, just to kind of fit the needs of the employees. But we have a project website that you were linked to in the email, so you just go back to the email and reference it. On that website, there's a 3-page document that goes over the rules. The important rules are reserve the bike in advance on the calendars and stick to your reservation time. Just because if you're going to be late, you know, that's going to put someone else late to their meeting. Just be thoughtful. Stick to your reservation time. Definitely make a reservation. If you think you're going to be late and it is unavoidable, just look on the calendar, see who's behind you, send them an email, call them, just give them a heads up so that they're not in here like, the bike. You must wear a helmet. It is required. We want you all make a living off those big brains. Protect them. There are helmets provided. There's one in each bike. There's one over here, or you can bring your own. You can bring your favorite helmet from home, or you can wear one of ours. They are universal size. We'll go over how they fit in a little bit, but they should fit every single one of you. No using a cell phone while you're on the bike. It's just dangerous. I don't want you to fall. You must adhere to city, state, and university rules. City and state, this is a vehicle by the vehicle code. If you're familiar with driving a car, it's all the same rules, rights and responsibilities. An additional university rule is we have dismount zones. And I have a map over here that will show the dismount zones, but basically anytime you are on Sproul Plaza or in front of California Hall, you got to get off the bike and walk it. You will get a ticket. Just the way it is. I don't even go through those places anymore because I think it's annoying to have to get off the bike. So I just go around them. So do whatever you need to do. You must bring a lock with you. We provide you with U-locks. The best of the best. We'll just go over how to use them. They have keys. Take the key with you. Always lock the bike up. Berkeley is notorious for bike theft. And, like I mentioned earlier, this is a pilot, so we're collecting data. Most of the data we're collecting you won't even notice. But after each time you make a trip, we're going to send you a 2-question survey. Just please fill that out. Shouldn't take any longer than 15 seconds or so. There's another survey that we didn't anticipate doing, but this thing has been going for 3 weeks, and we have learned that 2 bikes is not enough. There are more people that want to use these than we have. So we're trying to measure by how much. How many bikes do we need? So we've just this morning implemented a 3rd survey, and that we ask you anytime you go to make a reservation and it's booked, fill out that survey, and it just asks you what date and time did you try to make a reservation and you couldn't. I'll send you that link later and you can just bookmark it, or we put it on the project website. So that is for the rules. So let's talk about how to use the bike. So come on in close. The bikes, for the most part, are exactly like every bike you've seen prior in your life. So mechanical gears right here, they work just like all mechanical gears do. Go up and down, there are 7 gears. Brakes, just like normal. The thing that's different is the electric gears. So they're located here and here. To turn them on, there's the power button, universal symbol for power button. You'll see this, the display fires up, and it's got all kinds of different info on it. This shows you at the top how fast you're going. This right here in the middle shows you what gear you're in, so you can see it going up and down. And we'll go over in a second what that means, how to use these gears. This is how much charge you have. This is where you see the battery. It's fully charged. It really should always be fully charged because we're always going to come back and plug them back in. The batteries last a really long time though. I was quoted by the company that if you rode it on full throttle for 45 miles, that's how you would deplete the charge. So, but that's not how anyone rides these things, so it's not a real life thing. So me, I use it all the time, all day, every day, all around campus, all around Berkeley, and I charge it once a week. And it's not even dead when I'm charging it at that time, I'm just popping it off kind of thing. And it also has a trip count, odometer, just if you want to know if you're counting your miles or whatever. So let's see, regular bike, we've got front.
Just a second.
Yeah.
The trip odometer, do we reset that?
No, you don't have to worry about that. You can if you want. I don't. We're not calculating anything and keeping track.
Okay, good.
So we've got front fenders, rear fenders to keep water off you should it ever rain. Chain guards to keep your legs safe. And these fun baskets to carry your things. So let's talk about the gearing for a second. So the mechanical gear works just like on any bike. You figure out a gear that you feel comfortable in. So once you have that, there's 3 different ways you can ride the bike. One is you don't have to turn on any of these electric gears. It is still a bike. So say the battery is dead or the battery is gone or whatever. It's still a bike. You can still use it. The second way is to use the assist, is what you call it, electric assist motor. So when you put it in one of these gears, let's start in 1. And when you start pedaling, when you're in one of the gears, you'll feel it give you a little bit of assistance as you're pedaling. You have to be pedaling. If you go into the second gear, it gives you a little bit more, into the third, a little bit more, and so on. When we test it out, you can just, I'd say, go test all the gears, see what they feel like, and you'll just get a feel for how you want to ride it. I take this out of my office, I crank it up into 5 as I'm walking to the street, and jump on it because I like full power. And it definitely helps you up the hills, and it's just fast. The third way to ride it is kind of like a scooter. So you put it in 0, and on the side here is a throttle, right here. So it's just like a scooter or motorcycle. You pull back on it slowly, and the motor engages. And it's just like a scooter. You do not have to pedal. You can pedal. It does help you a tiny bit. I pedal, like if I'm trying to get up a hill that's really steep, I'll put it in 0, I'll do full throttle scooter and pedal. It just, I don't know. Or another example is, these are super quick. So if you put it in the scooter mode, it just jumps right out there. So for example, if you are, say it like a street, trying to cross a street like Sacramento or San Pablo, you know where you have 4 lanes of traffic, but if you don't have a light, and you're just kind of waiting, I put it into the scooter mode and just jet right across because it's a lot quicker. I can make it faster than me trying to push myself. But you'll experiment with all this and figure it all out. So plugging in and plugging out. This is the battery here. It's got a little handle. It does come out. To get it out, you have to have a key that goes into this lock right here. The keys are not in here. I can't imagine why we need to take these out. So I just have them on my desk. So when you take the bike out, you just unplug it, leave that right there, and take off. Anytime you come back in, just plug it back in. It's just a little 3-prong thing here. And plug it back in. So these batteries are super sophisticated in that they're not going to pull a charge if they don't need it. So that's why we're able to just leave it on there. They're not going to overheat. They're not going to blow up. And they're not going to draw any electricity when they don't need it. Let's see. So the seat is a quick release, meaning it's got a little lever on the side. It goes up and it goes down. And this is super important for you to figure out. The lever's on this side. Figure out how this works, number one, and figure out seat height that is good for you. So we're all different heights. So these will be different for everyone. You'll want it to be not too high, and you'll know it's too high if your feet are dangling as you're on the seat and you feel you're going to fall down. And not too low where you feel you can't get a full leg extension. And you can play with that out there. But, so there's 2 pieces to the quick release on the seat. And that is one, the lever that you open and close and it goes up and down. But to control the tension on this lever, there's this little dial on the side, right there, and right here on this side. And as you play with it, you can tell that when you tighten that dial, the lever is harder to pull closed. And you want it as tight as you can possibly do it, as tight as your little hands will get it to go, so that the seat doesn't move up and down. If it's super loose, the seat is going to go down as you're riding. And it's not comfortable. So does anyone have any questions about that or want to touch it or anything? You can grab my agenda. Let's see. So the lights to be legal at night, you have to have a front white light and a rear red light, which both bikes have. To turn them on, you just one click on the front here. Oh, sorry, which eyes? It has 2 modes, this constant beam, and then another click will get you this scattered one. And then to turn it off, you long press it, and you're done. And the red one on the back is a rubbery button. You press it 1 time, and you get the solid. Press it 2 times, you get blinking. I personally think blinking is easier to see for a car. Kind of grabs your attention a little better. 3rd click or 3rd press turns it off. Let's see. Oh, let's talk about these guys. So this is really quite cool. So this is on a rack here, and you can just put your books or your bag or whatever you want to carry with you in there, ride to where you're going, and then take it out and leave it. Or you can put your things in there and take this thing with you. Say you have a whole bunch, you have a projector and your laptop and you're going to do a presentation, and you have a whole bunch of stuff. Well, you don't have to carry it. You can take this thing with you. So it just clicks out. If you guys want to come and look at what this looks like, it just kind of slips up under This yellow piece just goes up under the lip there, and you just pull it down. And now it's on a track, so pull it out of the track, like that. And then you can push this little button, and the handle raises, and now you're mobile with all your stuff. And it even collapses, so if you take these black pieces off, the whole thing collapses inward, if that's something you need. Now the tricky part, however, at least for me, is getting this thing back on this track. Like that is not it. You can feel when it goes on. There we go. And then you just get it back on that lip, and we're done. Let's see. So, helmets. When you're going to ride, you gotta have your helmet. So, you guys can pass these around and see how they work. There's one in there. So, like I said, they're universal. The way you want them to fit. Put it on your head. Let me get it. So, this is too loose, right? Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks.
This is too loose. If it moves, if you do your head like this and it moves around, it's too loose. And you want it straight on your head. I see a lot of people doing this number. That's not safe. Or this number, not safe. Straight on. And once you go straight, just tighten that dial until you get to the point where you can do that and it doesn't pop around. And it doesn't feel like it's squeezing your head. And then this part, I wear mine kind of loose. This is really a personal preference thing. It does need to be tight enough to keep it on your head, and not tight enough to distract you by choking you. Any questions about that? Well, I'll put one on when we go outside. Okay, so you got your helmet on, and you're about to take a ride. We ask that you do what's called an ABC check before you leave, and that means air, brakes, chain. So first, just make sure there's enough air in the tires. And to be honest, it's kind of hard to feel with your hands. I think it's easier to feel if you have low air while you're riding, which is kind of unfortunate, but there's air pumps on campus. There's an air pump here if you do need air. These tires are between 45 and 65 pounds per square inch. So has everyone used a pump like this before? You just stick it up on, take the cap off, stick it up on there, lock it like that. Now it's locked, and just pump it into 45 to 65. I'm going to write this down on the wall while I'm thinking of it. There's lots of notes over here, so if you forget something, it's probably written on here. Okay, so air, we've got enough air. Brakes, check to make sure the brakes are functioning. So just give them a little squeeze. If there's some tension in them, they're working. If this thing decompresses all the way to the handlebar, they're not working, and you should call one of the numbers on here. Particularly this one right here. Amy Chang is going to be, if there are any problems with the bike, send her an email or give her a phone call, and she'll most likely call this guy, or you can call this guy and say, I'm with East Berkeley Bike Pilot, help me. It's all right. So that was air, brakes, chain. So we have chain guards. So the thing you're looking for is just to make sure the chain is on the cassette. If it's not, you can still ride it. That's the great thing about an electric bike, is you can just ride it in scooter mode. But you cannot ride it as a bicycle if the chain is like hanging down. And that's what it will look like. If it's not on this cassette right here, it'll be flopping around, hanging around. And immediately when you start to pedal, you'll go rather than feeling like you're in the gear that you're in. If the chain is not on, call one of those numbers, take a different bike, unless you know how to put it back on. It's typically an easy thing to just put the chain back on, but this chain guard kind of gets in the way. I'm not sure I could put it on, If you can, that's great. If not, just let us know. We'll get it fixed. Okay, so that is your ABC check. And I lost my agenda. So riding in traffic. Are everyone comfortable riding in traffic? You commute. Just a few rules for the road that are important. The first thing is you have all the same rights and responsibilities like you're an automobile. That means yield to pedestrians, yield the right of way to vehicles. If like you're a stop sign and you're not the first one there, you don't have the right of way. It's all the same. Don't blow through stop signs where there are a bunch of cars there. It really makes them mad, and you might get hit. So just same rules and some common sense. And signaling, yes, signaling is very important. So this is a right-hand turn. This is also a right-hand turn, just depends on whatever you're comfortable with. This is a left-hand turn. I like to signal well in advance. Bicycles do not have brake lights, so it's hard for cars to tell that you're slowing down unless you've got your arm hanging off the side here, letting them indicating that you're about to do something. And so if you're turning, you're probably slowing down. So I like to give a lot of notice when I'm turning. Also, a couple of things about riding in traffic. One is if you're not yet comfortable riding on roads such as Telegraph, you don't have to. You don't have to get out there and be riding the traffic. Berkeley has a ton of really great calm side streets, and some are called bicycle boulevards, and they're marked by purple signs. And they're also marked on this map. You might spend some time getting to know the map and plotting your route. And typically there are some extra bike maps for you to have here. It looks like they've all been taken, but we'll get some more. So in the legend, all the different types of bicycle facilities are marked, from bike lanes that you're familiar with, which is a stripe on the roadway, to nothing on the roadway, to these bicycle boulevards. They all feel different. They all have different levels of safety, and they're all located in different places. So just get familiar with that. But if you are, so like I said, if you're not comfortable on Telegraph yet, you don't have to go. You don't have to start there. Ride around the neighborhoods, get comfortable, and then work your way up. When you are riding on places like Telegraph that don't have a bike lane, it's the most safe for you to be in the middle of the lane, of the car lane. It's not safe for you to be all the way to the right. A lot of cyclists I see try to be accommodating and get out of the way and let traffic go, and they'll get all the way to the right. But what happens when you do that is the car does not change lanes to go around you. They squeeze in. They're like, oh, I got plenty of room, and they squeeze in, and they're right next to you, going 35 miles an hour, and that's really safe because they can't exactly judge how close they are, and they might hit you. Or even the rush of wind of them coming by can affect you depending on how fast they're going. So right in the middle of the lane, and then